there guys, and welcome back. So we're going to continue talking about my favorite topic to talk about on the channel, the live action Disney Snow White. And just when we thought things couldn't get possibly any worse for this movie, with all the backlash, all the negativity, all that stuff, Disney has now gone and cancelled the film premiere in the UK due to the backlash and everything going on. So this is just absolutely insane. Disney are running scared, they don't want the media asking the actors and actresses questions, and they've just shut down the entire UK premiere of this movie. This is just goes to show you how bad this movie is being received and all the discourse going on around it. So anyway, without further ado, let's jump into this article and let's see exactly what's going on with the cancellation of this premiere. So Disney had no plans for Snow White UK film premiere after controversy. So let's jump into this article and let's see what it has to say. Grab your popcorn because this is going to be an interesting one. So Disney had no intentions of rolling out the red carpet in London for its upcoming massive film release, Snow White. It was reported that bosses had declined to hold a glitzy premiere in London, as would be expected for a major release such as this, in an attempt to avoid backlash against the film. Yeah, because they're terrified that the media are going to be asking questions about the backlash and about the discourse rather than the actual film itself, which would be funny as hell. So the live action remake is understood to have updated the storyline to move away from elements present in the original 1937 animation, such as Snow White being a princess whose main function is to wait for a kiss from the prince to bring her back to life, which has been a contentious move in some circles. Therefore, Disney has alleged decided to not hold a big cinematic celebration of the movie in the UK in an attempt to discourage any anti-woke backlash, and has opted for a handful of carefully overseen press events instead. Yeah, so they're going to do small press junkets probably, where they can basically manipulate the questions ahead of time so the actresses and actors can know how to answer the questions rather than off-the-cuff questions on the red carpet where they wouldn't have time to plan their responses. And it's going to be carefully orchestrated so that they don't kind of bring further backlash and further kind of negativity around the movie. I get it from a business perspective. If I was in charge of the movie, I'd probably do something similar. But from a fan perspective, on the other side, this is pretty hilarious given all of the backlash against this movie that they've now pretty much cancelled the premiere because they're so afraid of what could happen. So a source told the Daily Mail, Disney is already anticipating anti-woke backlash against Snow White and has reduced the media schedule to just a handful of tightly controlled press events. This is why they have taken the highly unusual step not to host the London premiere for the film and are minimising the amount of press questions Rachel Zegler gets. This is hilarious. This is so funny. Like, they literally have no trust in Rachel Zegler whatsoever because of the things that she said on social media. She's just come out, like, every time she opens her mouth, it's just like hot garbage falls out of her mouth, and the film box office basically plummets every time she says something, and they're so afraid of what she might possibly say to the media that they've basically cancelled the premiere because of it. Like, how bad is that? So Metro also understands that no interview junket was planned for the UK as would normally be anticipated, with the extremely limited press opportunities being controlled as part of a European-wide junket in another country instead. So the film kicked off its press tour in Tokyo this week, with Zegler performing the first film's new song, Waiting on a Wish, live on stage. So Snow White rumoured to have a budget of around $296 million. Can you even believe that? They've nearly spent $300 million on this movie, and they're so afraid to have a premiere. It just tells you everything you need to know about the story around this movie. Has already been an unfortunate magnet for controversy in its run-up to its delayed debut. First, the film was criticised ahead of its release for having Snow White played by a Latina actress, Rachel Zegler, which has been seen as part of Disney's recent push for more culturally representative storytelling, following Halle Bailey's turn as Ariel in The Little Mermaid. Yeah, I mean, say what you want. Yeah, I mean, the controversial casting of Rachel Zegler, that was kind of the first step to this movie's backlash. And then her talking and opening her mouth and making the comments about the original Snow White, the fact that they made CGI dwarfs instead of casting real actors, everything about it has just been a shit show. Zegler, who's 23, has also drawn the ire of some fans' criticism of the original film, released nearly 88 years ago, as she called it dated. She critiqued elements such as Snow White's relationship with Prince Charming as a guy who literally stalks her in an interview. That was one of the stupidest comments she ever made. at Disney's D23 Expo in September of 2022, calling it weird, which rubbed some fans up the wrong way. Her revelation in a separate interview with Variety at the event that Snow White was not going to be dreaming about true love anymore, and rather about becoming a leader she knows she can be, and a leader that later father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true, also upset former Disney designer David Hand, son of the one of the 1937 film animators and supervising director David Hand. Yeah, so the son of the original filmmaker from the original Snow White. He even came out and made a load of comments about things that Rachel Zegler had said. So yeah, I mean, even him, the son of the original filmmaker himself, like, has jumped on the bandwagon and added to the backlash as well. He calling it a disgrace. Hand added to the Telegraph, "I find it quite frankly a bit insulting of what they have done with some of these classic films. There's no respect for what Disney did and what my dad did." Obviously his dad having worked on the original Snow White. "I think Walt and he would be turning in their graves." That's a really, really strong piece of wording there. They would be turning in their graves. That's how much he hates what they've done with this movie. After its original 2024 release date was postponed due to the 2023 Hollywood strikes, Snow White is set for release on March 21st. When the first teaser dropped in August of 2024, it racked up more than 1.4 million dislikes from its 11 million views, based largely on what was seen as its overused CGI in the creation of the Seven Dwarfs. There were previously reports that having been renamed and reimagined as magical creatures instead, being portrayed by live actors. Yeah, I mean, everything about this is just so wrong. I mean, we've got people in Hollywood, like real dwarf actors, who are craving jobs in Hollywood. And instead of Disney hiring these dwarf actors and giving them great representation in a big Hollywood movie, they decided to brush all that aside and make CGI nightmare-fueled dwarfs, which is such a strange, like, why would you do that? Pro-Palestine activists have also called for a boycott of the movie over Disney's casting Israeli actress Gal Gadot as the evil queen. Yeah, I mean, that hasn't been so much of an issue. We haven't heard much backlash against Gal Gadot. She seems to be the only reason why people would even watch this movie, from what I've seen in the comment section. So, Gal Gadot, who starred in the Wonder Woman movies, has publicly advocated for Israel over the years. Yeah, I remember a little bit of backlash and controversy around that, but it kind of appeared, and then after a week, it kind of dissipated, and then the whole Rachel Zegler discourse overtook it again, and the whole Gal Gadot thing really never took off. After a week, no one really cared. It just kind of disappeared from, you know, the public discourse on social media, and everyone went back to attacking Rachel Zegler again. So yeah, the Gal Gadot thing didn't really take off in the same way, which is kind of strange. I'm not sure why it didn't, but I guess, you know, people just didn't talk about it for whatever reason. But that's where we are, guys. So it looks like Disney is basically running scared from the media. They've basically have no plans to do a premiere in the UK, which is what they would usually do with these big Disney tentpole movies. So in a way, they've cancelled it. They've decided not to. They've run away with their tail between their legs, and they've decided to hold really small orchestrated press junkets where the media can't ask uncomfortable kind of off-the-cuff questions to the actors and actresses, where Disney can downplay the controversy and the discourse surrounding this movie, and they can kind of control the narrative to their heart's content. So yeah, kind of crazy stuff. You just didn't think it could get any worse for this movie. But after this, it definitely looks like it has. But guys, jump into the comment section. Let me know what you think about this. Does it surprise you to hear this, that Disney now has no plans to do a premiere? In part, they've basically cancelled it because they would have done it otherwise. And I would love to know your thoughts, comments, and opinions. So jump down in the comment section and let us know what you think about this story. As always, guys, thank you so much for being here. Make sure you hit the like button before you leave. Consider becoming a subscriber of the channel if you haven't done so far. It goes a long way to supporting my content, so I really appreciate that. And as always, I will see you in the next video.